Do you want early access? Do you want uncut reactions? If so, then check out our Patreon. Link in the description down below. We're no strangers to science. You know the rules, and so do they. Yeah, sorry. Had to do a kind of a semi-rickroll on everybody. So,
because of those who know the rules.
And those who make them. Yeah, you know the rules. Yeah, that was the joke. So, yeah, this title of this episode is Those Who Know the Rules, Those Who Make Them. We got some Dr. Stone to watch. What do you say we get to it, my dude? All right, let's get this up on screen, and here we go.
Yo! Those boneheads are finally coming!
Wait, I thought your name was Yo.
And Bonehead.
Should have put the canopy up.
Science versus science. In a dogfight!
And neither of their bodies have had any kind of G-force applied to them in thousands of years.
Yeah, it's gonna be quite a joke, but
even with the canopy up, that would still probably be like.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
To go that fast.
But the thing is, if
the fastest I guess they've gone is in their cars, but those cars probably max at like 55. So
yeah, and probably the boats too.
I wonder if Stanley expected to see an enemy plane come out at him.
A real dogfight! How can you be so hyped up about this, man? You realize they're gonna mow us all down if we lose this battle, right?
But I'm more worried about my boyfriend! Why is he coming to play when he's not fully healed?
Because he's crazy.
Don't tell me.
Is it a net
just
gun?
A toy?
Yeah. When he finds out we don't have an automatic weapon, then he's just gonna close right in and pump us full of lead.
We're showing him our false fangs, and that's how we'll goad him into a legit dogfight.
You got some guts challenging a military-trained fighter pilot.
Let's see what their actual plan is. Oh, that's not good.
Nope.
If he wasn't just playing with them right now, then they would have been downed right there.
Yeah.
Whoever secures the 6 o'clock position wins.
And you know that why?
Because I am a military mangaka! Some ridiculously nasty G-force!
Uh-oh.
Something's loose, not good! Relax. This is exactly why I'm here.
Oh, so he's literally there to hold the plane together.
Truth be told, I only ever took my private planes on standard grocery runs.
Seems like Kaseki would have been just as good for holding the plane together, though.
But yeah, I guess. But
This small frame could move around in there and keep everything bolted down.
yeah, true. Maybe they asked him. He's like, "I'm not going up in that thing. It's like I'm keeping my feet on the ground where they belong."
A prank turn! If he can lure Stanley into overshooting and passing them by, they instantly have the upper hand! Oh, they're on a 6! It's their chance to lock on!
We've got your ass now.
No, you don't. Elevate.
What?
Knew it.
What's wrong, fledgling science team? Don't tell me you've never seen this.
No, that's crazy! A sharp ascent to slow down fast, then forcing his way into the enemy's turning arc. Next, it's a quick descent to speed up again. He'll not only catch up, he'll be on their 6! He's attempting a high-speed yo-yo maneuver!
Damn it.
Hey, Stanley! I want that killer technique of yours! That skill!
Dogfighting is a relentless breakneck negotiation of speed, altitude, and energy. It's 3D chess.
That's why I love it.
Never hope.
At least the simulations of it are played.
They're mine!
Oh, Max Flaps.
Technique
Yes! Yeah.
Your stomach basically.
They
just
both
gets-
would have passed the fuck out if this was real life, probably.
There is a proper breathing technique that you can do to like make it to where you don't pass out.
but now they're doomed to stall and crash. I know that engine's limits. There's no way it has enough power to right itself.
They put something else on there besides just the engine.
What?
At 10 billion% shouldn't have had enough power. At least not
You
while
beefed
using
it up.
that petro fuel of yours.
We'll use castor beans.
Castor oil happens to function as ridiculously high-quality engine oil.
That's a bad idea.
My right arm's well prepared from hardcore gaming. Senko, time for a combo move with your science.
Yo, heads up, Stanley.
Stanley's violently rocking his plane on purpose.
Yeah, that shot would be ridiculously hard even if you were shooting at a target that was holding still.
Yes.
Or at least holding still in terms of like their flight path, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone has their attention focused skyward. So I mustn't take my eyes off the ground. Not now.
Smart. Just in case.
They're thinking, we can't rule out a ground attack. Oh, but
Underwater.
too bad for them.
Oh no.
That's what they were building. It was a submarine.
Dear Lord. With a battering ram.
Science is elegant.
I could literally see like Magma just being like, oh damn, looking up at that's really making me hungry. Hey, there's a big ass fish in the water. And they're like, huh? Holy crap!
Is that a submarine? No way!
Yes way.
These two people that recognize what they're looking at were the first to see it, basically. But,
Ooh.
oh, too late though. Damn.
Uh-oh. It's a raid.
They're getting boarded. Damn.
Oh, they got automatic weapons. Oh, they got armor.
Large bastard.
They got armor.
Your heads and get on the floor, you brats. Don't make me repeat myself.
Damn.
All clear. Hey there, Luna.
Neutralized, and in less than 10 seconds.
Damn, she even took out Nikki.
Yeah, that's
We've
crazy.
neutralized the base of the fledgling kingdom of science.
Stanley traded away his speed for all that rocking and rolling. That speed demon is like 10 billion% slower.
What's he doing? Ascending should mean a relative loss of speed. But now, within this narrow window, while Stanley's slowing down, we can get right on top of him! Confused
Figured
yet?
he would have figured out that they didn't actually have a working machine
Seems
gun in that
absurd
case.
according to the old world rules
Maybe.
you're used to following.
Humanity's first dogfight was stupidly primitive, but it was basically just two guys throwing tools at each other. We're going to win this battle.
Oh
with
no,
science.
he's got those
Acetylene gas.
acetylene gas
It's an engine's worst
bombs again to
nightmare.
knock them out.
Special delivery. Drink your fill.
Pilot the Bombardier. Pilot the Bombardier. You're clear for dropping.
I have a feeling.
Got him.
Did they though?
That's the thing. We don't know.
So if there's a way to proof an engine against that, Zeno did it.
There's a couple more of them below deck.
Oh,
Oh, here we go.
here we are.
A machine gun? What, you expected us primitives to piss ourselves and surrender the moment you pointed those things at us?
Uh-huh.
But that's
This really
not
takes a
gonna
bit
work.
of suspension of disbelief, doesn't it?
Well, in close corridors like that, if they're trained on you with their fingers on the trigger and you're more than like 5 feet away, you're dead.
Why aren't you at your post? Are they
Been
for
taken
real?
hostage.
Fighting a machine gun with just a sword and a spear?
Ah. Oh, pineapples. Knocks them
Area
away.
attacked like the petrification weapon.
Oh shit!
Don't be an idiot! Do you have any idea?
Goodbye.
Goodbye. Yeah. It's like, yeah, the pineapples didn't work. Time to bring out the ex-wife.
Their engine. It ain't the gas. The acetylene.
Sweet victory! Down he goes.
Senku!
Poop. And the fact that all three of them are going to survive these plane crashes. He's survived 2 of them now.
And they're
They
walking.
just walk away from it.
Senku, you good?
Much better than I should be.
We've got to capture
Too late.
No.
Stanley would never miss at this range.
That was a warning shot.
He's out.
Oh, it's jammed.
It's not Stanley.
Just who the hell are you?
The real Stanley never would have missed like that. He would have
The real
taken you
Stanley doesn't
out
have an
in a
ass like
single
that either.
Stanley. The real one. Oh! Damn, dude.
Checkmate. I see. A surprise attack from an S-tier knight. Ends in a checkmate.
Agreed, right?
On both of our sides.
That's called a draw.
No, because while they captured the board and all the pieces, their king is still free.
True.
Senku, where
They
their
just
king,
captured the king.
their
Yeah.
king is captured. So they may have lost a lot of their pieces.
Well,
But-
technically that can still end up in a draw because, like, the king could be in a situation where they could be forced back and forth, but you only have your king left and maybe like a pawn, and the pawn gets taken. Like, when only your king's left, your king can't checkmate the other king. So, but I mean, like, he technically didn't lose everything down to just Senku because he's got that team. So yeah, it's not really the same thing.
I guess.
I wouldn't call it a checkmate on both sides. I would call it, the game is still on technically.
I can just imagine the black scene from
Real
like
life
Monty
doesn't
Python.
necessarily work like chess. It doesn't necessarily work like you cut the head off the snake and you win.
Yeah.
There's sometimes the head can still bite, like, despite being decapitated or whatever.
That's true, but I just imagine at this point, Black Knight from Monty Python and the Holy Grail on the ground, all his legs and arms cut off. He's like, all right, we'll call the draw.
Yeah, one of the big mistakes that Zeno made was sending basically all of his bodyguards to attack them.
If he would have at least kept one. I mean,
Yeah.
I know. Just
Engineer guy's probably still there, unless his engineer guy was helping to run the submarine. I didn't see for sure.
I don't know. Okay. Yeah, that's it, and nothing else. Post credits. So also, the next one is the last one that they've released for now.
Oh, really?
So, yeah, after this next one, we're going to be done with Dr. Stone for another little while.
Dang.
So we can start up something else. We'll see what the Wheel of Destiny tells us. But okay, everyone, those who know the rules and those who make them. A battle of wits between Dr. Stone and Dr. Zeno. Senku, though not technically a doctor because he never went to college and all that. Do you have to really be a doctor in order to get a college degree? I know the doctorate and all that, but if you're good at your job but yet you don't have a doctorate, I think you should still be considered a doctor. At least that's how I see it. I mean, I know there's specializations, like cardiovascular surgery, neurosurgery, orthopedics.
I mean, I think that's what master is reserved for, like the term master. Like, doctor is just a special term given by an education system. But, like, mastering a craft is essentially usually what the end goal is.
Yeah, true, I guess.
So you could easily say that Senku is a master of science.
Mm-hmm.
The same way Zeno is a master of science. It doesn't matter what their education papers say.
That's true. Still, though, I mean, it's just for me. I just think that if someone calls you a doctor, if you specialize in medical, general practitioner, helping people, I think you should receive the title of doctor. At least that's how I see it. Even though it's just well, he didn't go to college. It's just Yeah, shove it.
Most people just don't trust someone like to help in a medical field who hasn't gone to college for it.
Well, I know that, but like Senku's read all the books, and like for instance, the like Ramanujan. I don't know if you ever heard of him. Ramanujan, basically, this little Indian boy, like read this like basic book on mathematics, and just from learning the basics of mathematics when he was like 6 years old, by the time he was 10, 11 years old, he was cranking out theorems that still to this day confuse the hell out of like the biggest college professors. And Ramanujan literally like was considered to be like the greatest mathematical mind ever, even better than Einstein. But because Ramanujan came from a village that didn't have anything like that, and it wasn't until he was like in his 20s that he was finally able to go and like be in that educational system. You know, he basically had to learn everything himself. And it was sad. The saddest part is that he didn't live that long, because I think he died of like a bacterial infection when he was only like 32. And like I said, one of the greatest minds ever just gone like that. And when you think about like the confounding principles that he came up with just from the little mathematical textbook that he got, it's unbelievable. And that's the same thing with Senku.
It's probably
a
because,
starving
like,
mind like that just goes.
I mean, it's
all
kind
out.
of the equivalent of if someone gives you a guitar when you're a kid and you don't really have anything else to do but play it.
Yeah.
Like, you're not only teaching yourself to play, like, but you're also looking on it with a set of pretty fresh ears and eyes, like, compared to most of the rest of the world.
Yes.
And so instead of charting a route that everyone laid out before you, you're charting your own route, which can actually come up with some things that people might not have thought of before.
Yeah.
And that's basically what he did with math. Like, he probably just had math. That was his hobby, and, like, he didn't have much else to entertain himself.
Oh, yeah.
But he probably didn't have access to, you know, all of the math that came after that. So he charted through all of that himself and probably ended up with fresh perspectives he never would have ended up at if he was too busy learning.
If he went through the theorems
everything
and the
else that
practical...
everybody else had already set up and done before, you know.
Exactly. And that's the crazy thing about
that's like a
genius.
I've never thought about that before, but that's kind of like a paradox of education, because I still view education as important, but when everyone is educated exactly the same way on the same path, it reduces the probability that someone can basically chart their own route and basically make like a mutation or an anomaly in the theorems that exist, you know.
Well,
but also, like, at the same time, like, a lot of those mutations and anomalies could be completely wrong too, depending on the cleverness of the person who's doing it.
Yeah.
And you do need people there to, like, checks and balance, like, your ideas to make sure that you didn't come up with an idea that you think's a great idea, and then somebody points out that that doesn't work because of this, you know, that's something you never thought about.
Yeah. And this is the thing that I really wish our education system here in the States would do, is specialization. For instance, everyone gets the same baseline general education up until like grade 4.
Yeah,
then,
like rather than it splitting off at college, it should split off at like middle school.
Yeah, because that's when your brain's neuroplasticity is at its highest, and you're able to absorb information that much quicker. And if there's something that you can specialize in, like mathematics, science, art, English, history, it should be done earlier instead of later in college. You start to specialize in middle school.
So I have two views on that idea, a negative and a positive view. I think it's a really good idea for the positive one, because there would be a lot of people who would do exactly what I was just talking about. They would basically pick the thing that interested them most in school, thereby specializing heavily into the path that keeps their brain most engaged. I probably would be a scientist at this point if that was the case, because science was always my favorite subject. You would probably be a historian for sure.
Yes.
But the downside of that, I think, is that I would probably be a scientist at this point, and I don't know that that's actually what I personally wanted to be.
Well,
like, I kind of think that there are a lot of people who, I mean, you may view it as like a waste or whatever, but I think there are a lot of people whose actually inner desires kind of actually conflict with what they may or may not be the best at. Like, there are people who are insanely good at like a thing, but their heart tells them to follow a different path. You know what I mean?
No, I get that.
So like there are some people who people are like, yeah, why aren't you like playing multiplayer games like when you're so good at them and stuff, you know? And I'm like, because I really enjoy single player games a lot more. Like, you know, it's like, if I put in the practice and time, I could probably be like gold plus on some multiplayer games, but like, I just have a lot more fun experiencing stories and stuff, you know.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I get that 100%.
Solving problems and such that aren't repetitive, like multiplayer usually seems to tend to lend itself to.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some problem solving and stuff in it. It's just not my favorite kind, you know.
Well, I get that 100%, and in all honesty, I think that, well, allowing specialization may not, well, it'll lead to like your primary interests being nurtured, and thus giving you a greater appreciation for the thing that you may find that you may like have like the best interest in and maybe the best at doing. But at the same time,
I also think people change their minds sometimes too.
They do.
So I mean, you could start through science in middle school, and then you could end up in high school and be like, you know what, I fucked up. I made the wrong decision. I really wanted to. I should have been a mathematician or whatever, you know.
Well, and there's nothing to say you can't like go and catch back up. And in all honesty, I think that like specialization, it shouldn't just be one route. It should be multiple routes that you have. You basically have your primary, then you have your secondaries that you keep up with, that you basically don't overwhelm yourself with everything else that's in school. Like, for instance, me, history would be my number one.
It would be very nice for it to be an option, actually.
Yeah.
Like, you know, people who are just like young and are just like, I love science. Like, and wanted to just take all of the sciences, and they're like, but I hate chemistry, so I'm not going to do that. But I'm going to do all the other science. So like their school education could then focus primarily on biology, like medical,
zoology, and
you know, like medical science, like whatever they wanted to focus on, and they could do all the sciences as they grow up, and they could learn way more science than any of the other students. But there could also be a student who's like, I don't know which one I like the most, and therefore they could have a general education and keep their options wide as they grow up, you know.
And I think choice is the primary thing that I think we need to have for kids, because that's how you get specialization and also general education. You know, like general studies, there's nothing wrong with going into general studies and being like a jack of all trades and knowing a multitude of things in different fields. There's nothing wrong with that. But at the same time, that's basically what everyone's forced into with the current education system. It's basically a meat grinder that churns out people who are like all around like knowledgeable about everything, instead of letting people who have the degree for specialization, like for their mindset and everything, to like, it prevents them from flourishing. And I don't like that.
But let's be honest, if that specialization system was set up, there are too many people that would be like, there needs to be someone in charge. They need to use a formula to find out what the person's best at, and they don't need to have a choice. What they're best at's what they need to go specialize in.
And I disagree with that.
Yeah.
You see, this is why the happy medium is what we need. Because if you just like say, oh, if they specialize in this, then that's what they need to stay on. It's like, no, because people's tastes change over time. It happens all the time. It's like some things I was into back when I was in high school, I look back on now and I'm like, why the hell was I ever interested in that? And it happens all the time. This is why I think you should have specialization, and also have like the like secondary like classes of like the other things that interest them. And if they want to be like, oh, okay, I'm not interested in this anymore, I want to drop this one and dedicate myself more on this, then they can do that. Or it's like, oh, I'm not interested in this anymore. Instead, I heard about this over here, so I'm going to drop my secondary one here, and I'm instead going to pick this up instead. Basically, I look at it as core curriculum and satellite, and like satellites for like secondary learning. And I think your core one is like the one that you like specialize in, and then the satellite ones that you take interest in, you basically can
basically swapped from the way it is right now.
Yes,
like
completely.
Instead of your core curriculum being everything, like your core curriculum is to be something that you really put focus in, and then you could have, but you also have to go do like some secondary math and some secondary stuff just to keep your everything else up, but you don't have to focus purely on everything at once, you know?
Yes.
That would make a lot of sense.
Exactly.
Like,
we don't
because
have
you
that.
could swap your focus at any point, really, and you would still have some ideas from like other things. You wouldn't be learning nothing by any chance.
Yes.
As long as you're always learning, you're always
Well,
advancing.
Well, and it's like for me.
And I mean,
would,
there are just kids who stop learning at a point because they go too fast.
Yeah.
Like, and that's part of the failure of the education system.
And they get overwhelmed with all the general education of like stuff that they don't want to learn about being forced into their cerebrum.
So that was
and
me. It's
basically,
like I learned all of the biology stuff really quickly, and then I got bored with it after that because there was nothing left to learn, like in what they were currently teaching. I would have had to go do it myself, but nobody ever really threw out how I would go do that, and I never liked it quite enough to look into that myself. But if the education system had been like, all right, you're really good, let's go where you want to go with this, and
let's look at
gave me some options towards specializing in it and stuff. I'd been like, let's go with biology, let's see where that takes me.
Let's look at some potential AP courses that you could take.
Even if I didn't end up a biological scientist, maybe I would have ended up like a doctor or something, because
maybe,
you know, like the intricacies of like the insides of the human body have always interested me too. Like, I was like, everybody makes fun of it. Mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell, and I was like, dude, I had fun learning stuff like that.
Yeah,
it was interesting to me to find out how this like meat Gundam works, you know.
Of course.
So,
but we've rambled for we made a 22-minute video into a 50-minute reaction.
I don't know what it was about this particular episode of Dr. Stone, but we had a very sciencey discussion afterwards.
Yes, we did. About not only like the science involved in the episode, but also about like the parameters of education.
It's the fact that I'm currently awake right now, and I have not been awake for like the past 2 weeks on anything we've done.
Yeah, active Nick is fun Nick.
I'm easier to have conversations with. Like, my brain is actually functioning for the moment.
Good. Well,
It's rare, but it happens sometimes.
Well, I mean, what did you all think about this episode? And also, go ahead.
If you're still here, tell us what you want to see after this, since this is going to be on a break soon. So.
Yes, please do. Feel free to.
We already got some ideas to put on the wheel, but if you give us any really good ones, we'll put that on the wheel too.
Oh yeah, be more than happy to put them on there.
So we got Sakamoto Days, ReZero, My Hero Academia.
Yeah.
And I can't remember if there's anything else right now.
Apothecary.
Yeah, Apothecary Diaries. So if there's anything besides those four you guys think of that we still need to watch really bad, let us know.
Please do. Love to hear it. But anyway, we're going to be ending it here, everybody. This was Dr. Stone, episode 11. Those who know the rules, those who make them. Let us know what y'all thought about this episode. Let us know what y'all thought about our conversation here at the end. If it's kept in, we'll see. But yeah, till then, I'm Nate.
I'm Nick.
Be good people. Take care. Peace.